This is me hastily cleaning my fridge and kitchen before embarking on a weekend trip. I don't know what it is, but I just cannot leave my flat or my kitchen in a mess before I go away. I don't know if I think I'll never return, but it's something we always did as a family. We always had to tidy up the house and have the house spotless before we left. Maybe people just like coming back to a really clean house. I don't know. Anyway, I decided to go on a weekend trip with friends after a lot of badgering and a lot of convincing. I realized that I haven't been giving myself enough time and space to spend time with friends. Instead, I rely more on entirely solitary pursuits. It always takes me a while to realize I've been absent. Not that I mean to be, it's just, I don't know, I suppose I've always loved my own company, and I can go months without seeing people. I don't know if that makes me some sort of a psycho or disturbed individual. I guess time will tell. Anyway, a friend organized a little weekend trip away within the country to a wine region. She's a local and believed we as visitors and foreigners would enjoy it. She organized it last year and none of us could go. I mean, there was a huge group and none of us could go, or perhaps didn't want to go for our own various reasons. How was it so difficult to get a couple of friends to agree to going away for a night? Just one night. I still don't remember what my excuse was back then. It's usually financial. Financial excuses are always the easiest. I have no money, it's not in my budget, things are going really bad, the inflation is horrible so I can't afford it. That type of thing. It always makes it so much easier. No one asks any questions and no one, badgers you. Anyway, she organized the trip again, this time for a smaller and more just unique crowd, just 4 people, including her. I wasn't sure what the costs were, but I somehow convinced myself, and this is how powerful the human brain is. I convinced myself it would be expensive, and I need a bucket load of money to go. My brain does that when it automatically hears weekend trip, especially with more than one person. You see, the first ever trip I had at the age of 19 was with well-meaning friends, but it turned out to be an expensive nightmare. Then again, it was a horse riding weekend in the Cotswolds. I had to get my family to send extra over to keep up appearances, as I quickly realized I was trying to do a 5-star holiday on a 2-star budget. My friends didn't mean it at the time. They weren't being mean girls. They genuinely thought I understood we would be having daily horse rides out of a private stables and eating meals made from a private kitchen. How is that ever going to be cheap? So I was silly enough at the time to take the little weekend money I'd had from an independent job working at a luggage retailer's on the high street. I arrived at this weekend, got a bit of a shock at how much I would actually have to pay my friend back, and hit up my family very quickly. My family were amazing, by the way. Always ask the relevant questions first so you are well prepared, my granddad cautioned, after the financial fiasco had been sorted out. So it wasn't too bad though, but now I've only ever gone on weekends away when I've been flush with money, because in my mind, a weekend away means several hundreds or thousands, and perhaps more, depending on your currency and destination of choice. However, it was clear that my friend definitely wanted me to come because she cornered me over the telephone. That is an actual thing. I never thought someone could corner you by phone, and told me she'd pay my share of the holiday and I could pay her back. I didn't get it, but then I asked her, how much does the holiday actually cost? And when I tell you that it was in 2 digits, you'd never believe me. It was so cheap. So I felt a bit mortified that I'd given her the runaround, and I just explained to her that I genuinely did think it would be horribly expensive. Childhood trauma and all that. Anyway, it was so nice of her to offer to pay. She really just wanted me to come and enjoy the weekend with them. And you know what? I went. I stopped being a baby and I just went, hoping that everything would be fine. I'd also like to add at this point that I'm very wary of going away with people I don't know, and there was one girl in the group I'd never met before. And it does sound a bit, way too, I guess, careful and cautious, but I just don't go away with people I don't know. Call it whatever you want, I just don't do that. I'm very adventurous, but I'm very careful with who I have around me. Anyway, it was a couple of hours drive to the little wine-making region we were visiting. It was a remarkably grey day, with a threat of rain, but our spirits remained high. The car journey on the way there was lovely. It was so friendly and so fun. The extra girl, I actually realised I had met her briefly on a night out. Everyone was quite drunk, so I didn't realise I'd met her, but she was lovely as well. She was from Korea, and it started off on a very, very high and good note. Something about the idea of tasting lots of luxury wines on a weekend with the girls just feels so satisfying and warming. Plus, this is Hungary, so I was looking forward to trying out the goulash as well. That was what had initially attracted me on my first visit to the country. I came here on a surprise weekend to see an old friend in January. I came alone, by the way. The weather was bitter and cold. Apparently, that wasn't the worst of it. So I hunkered in little moody restaurants and cafes whenever I needed a break from the onslaught of bitterly cold weather and snow lashing my face. I decided to try out the goulash as it was a specialty here, and tried some red wine with it, and I was in heaven. So naturally, on this weekend, that was my go-to meal, and most of it didn't disappoint. As we do on any weekend, some wanted to try out different things and activities. I'm a bit lazy. I will admit I'm very, very lazy. And I just chose to sit it out. When I go on a weekend, especially in autumn, winter, I like to just sit down in cafes, cozy cafes, restaurants, and just eat my way through the weekend. A couple of us also went to a spa, like the old Turkish baths, but another went to meet a friend for a quick coffee, and I just sat in my cafe, and I was in bliss. And then the heavens opened up, and it was just lovely. It was all remarkably charming and warm. And when the rain came down, it was heavy and hard on us all. Nonetheless, it was an amazing weekend, and I'm so glad I was coerced into going. We forgot how much we need of this little break in life, where we just go away with a little group of people and have fun and just have a chill time. Even the dogs had a good time, all three of them. The hotel room was adequate and quiet for the most part. It's a good idea to try these breaks every once in a while, and for goodness sakes, be safe. I went away with these group of girls because there was no competition between us. There was none of that frenemy stuff that so many women seem to contend with these days. It was just good-natured, healthy, respectful fun. If you are able to respect boundaries, there is no tension in the room. You don't feel like you're being subtly insulted when they make a comment about you, then by any means, go on that weekend trip with the girlies. Love you all. Until next time, goodbye.